Hi there, I'm Simon Canton, and in this video I'd like to talk about revising old books. So this has come up for me recently because I published my first book last year, in June of last year, and since then I think I've got 7 books out now, 7 or 8, and I've written probably about 1 million words since this time last year, or June last year at least, and I've gotten a lot better in that time, which is understandable after, I don't know, however many hours, probably 1,000 hours of work and 1 million words of writing or something. And so the question has come up for me about the first book I wrote. So the first book I wrote is obviously my weakest book because I had the least experience. And I recently got it edited by Garrett Robinson. So he kind of started doing copy edit and then we realized there was so much wrong that I asked him to change it to a developmental edit instead. And it kind of got to the stage where there's so much wrong that it nearly needs to be written from scratch. So the thing I'm worried about is my book has an average of 4.2 or something like that, 4.2, 4.3, which is pretty good. Most people give it 4 or 5 stars. There is comments quite often on the reviews and other places where people say, oh, it was a really slow start, but once it got going, it was really, really good. And other people have commented that there's quite a lot of spelling errors. So the problem I'm having is, if people really love the book, like someone even mentioned when I said I was going to edit a book, they said it better not be The Bite on the End of the Line, because I love that book. That I do a George Lucas and basically revise something that someone loves and wreck it by trying to fix it, basically. On the other hand, it's had 30,000 downloads, more than 30,000 downloads, and about 400 people maybe have gone on to the next book. So that's not a very high percentage. So I would guess that it takes, so from Garrett and me going through it, it takes about 7 chapters before it gets into the good bit. Which is comparable to Ready Player One, although my book's not as good as Ready Player One. I'm just saying that took about 70 pages before it got to the actual story. So there is a question where I'd be very interested to see if I did edit it, which I'd be kind of silly not to after I've spent a lot of money on an editor. If I did edit it, on how many more people, because I now have, it's been out for over a year, so I have pretty good statistics on how many people buy the next one. On if the percentage would go up is one question, and if it would seriously annoy any fans of the book. So I would plan on putting an author forward that says, I've revised this book because it had some issues that I think were in it. However, you can get a copy of the original book completely free here, and give them a link to somewhere on my website. Because I think the thing people disliked the most about George Lucas's changing of Star Wars was the fact that he tried to eradicate the previous records of what had happened. So Greedo shooting first and stuff like that, which he didn't, and it ruins the story if he did. So I don't want to end up like that, obviously. However, I'd be fooling myself if I said that my book is as good as Star Wars or anything close. I can only think that I would be improving it. At least I'd hope I'd be. But it's a very touchy subject, I think, because anyone who's really, really likes that book may get a little annoyed that the next person that comes to read it, if he or she recommends it to their friends, that they then go and read a different book to the one they read, and maybe say, oh, that's a load of crap, and then they find out that I've changed it and go, hey, what are you doing? You just ruined the book, and now my friends think I have no taste. I mean, it might happen. Maybe I'm just worrying about nothing. So that's one big question. The second question is the amount of time it'll take is nearly the equivalent of the amount of time it would take to write a new novel. So we're going to start Green Star Season 2 in November. I am working on Hard Vacuum 2, and I'm trying really hard to push it so that I'll be finished it by the end of September, which would then give me 1 month, which is not a lot of time, to either write a book or fix a book. I can fix the first book in the series, or I could write the fourth book in the series. I have said to people that the fourth book in the series is coming out early 2015, so I have to get it done sometime in the next 6 months. Early 2015, I count up until March. Hopefully that's okay. The other thing I've been considering is where to end the series, because I don't want to have a series keep going forever either. I'm a big fan of Piers Anthony, Terry Pratchett, people like that who do keep going with their series for a long time. Piers Anthony does a mix. Terry Pratchett obviously has other books than the Ankh-Morpork books, Discworld books, but most of his stuff is in Discworld. Personally, I don't want to do that. I do like the Bitter End series, but I don't want to continue it forever. I think a series ideally is between 3 and 7 books. So 3, a solid trilogy is fine. 7 if you've got kind of an extended story, but I think kind of once you go beyond that, it kind of stretches things out a bit, I think. So personally I think 3 to 7 books is kind of ideal. However, if everyone started buying the Bitter End books and it was raking in money, I reserve the right to write a new one, because whilst, speaking for me personally at least, I'm very much motivated by what I want to write, but I also am motivated by the fact that getting more money means that I get to use more of my time writing instead of doing a day job. So if something was selling, I would write more of it, but I wouldn't keep going on it forever. So the Bitter End books, I think at this stage will probably be about 5 or maybe 6. I'm thinking 5 for the Bitter End story, and then when I wrote book 3, I really loved the idea of Lila Dead Whisper's assassin college school, where they all have to kill each other. Like, that just seemed, it's very Hunger Gamesy, but it seems like a really good way to tell a story, or place to tell a story. Where so for anyone who hasn't read the books, little girls who are not valued in the Thief Kingdoms, orphan girls, or bastard girls, I guess, their fathers basically won't pay for their upbringing. They just want to have sons. So the bastard girls, the girls who are out of wedlock, are then sold to the assassins, and the assassins are all women, and they take in a class of I forget how many, maybe 50 girls, who are all 4 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, and they say, okay, well, you're all going to graduate at 18, except there's only going to be one of you, because everyone else had better be dead, because that's the rules. So the girls are then tasked with killing each other, so there's only one of them left by the age of 18. Like Battle Royale, but longer term. Which means that the girls then have to look over their shoulders the whole time because everyone around them is trying to kill them, which kind of is ideal then training for being an assassin, is what the assassins think. So that's a really good environment to tell a story, I think. So I'd love to write a book on that, but that would be an isolated book because it's before the events of the Bitter End series. It's in the same world, but it's not the same plotline. So the Bitter End books then would kind of end when Bitter End gets to the stage where it's kind of stable and everyone's happy. Yeah, maybe that's a spoiler. There'll be happy endings. There are happy endings in my books, generally. So then the question becomes, if I ended the Bitter End series there and started a new series, is it better to then switch to that new series rather than keeping going with a series that I wrote first, because I'll get better and better and better, and I don't want to keep revisiting the same old series over and over and over, obviously. I don't want to finish book 5 in a year's time and then go, oh, but I'm so much better now that I should rewrite the first book again. That would be kind of silly. So anyway, if you have any ideas or anything like that on the subject, please do let me know in the comments, or any questions or anything like that. And I will see you next time.